Outstanding!
I'm Lauren Inglis, Regional Director of ARPIN International Group, Middle East and India, and your host of My Expat Moving Story. Today, I am super excited to introduce you to my guest, South African expat Gail Webster. Gail was born in Scotland, moved to Cape Town, South Africa at 8 years old, and lived there most of her life until she became a trailing spouse. She has relocated back and forth to 4 countries and also happens to know me my entire life. So this is a very special interview for me. This interview is a 5-part series that is sure to give you an interesting perspective from a wife's vantage point as a trailing spouse. As you will learn, Gail's destinations went from both ends of the spectrum, from incredibly safe to extremely dangerous. And in all circumstances, she learned how to make the best of things, and she'll share her expat moving story with us next.
Relocating to a new home. New people. New schools. New beginnings and new adventures. Shared with all, right here, on My Expat Moving Story, with our host Lauren Inglis.
Welcome, Gail. We are so pleased to have you here on our show to share your experiences of all of your moves around the world. I'm so excited for you to share your stories of your relocations with everyone.
Thanks so much for having me on the show, Lauren. Looking forward to the questions.
Great. Let's get started then. So, where was your first international assignment experience from and to, and were you excited or nervous?
My first international expat experience was from Cape Town, South Africa to Belgium. I was very, very excited. I quite like change. I'm the type of person that likes to experience new things. So yes, I was excited, a little bit nervous as well, because not only were we moving countries, I was also changing a career in a sense. I had quite a high-powered job in the banking industry. So from going there to being an expat housewife, so to speak, I was quite nervous about that, I must say, but excited at the same time.
Okay. Well, I can understand and I can imagine that Flemish was not easy to pick up. And I actually remember you, I'll never forget. I remember when you first moved there and you were so excited to tell me that you could order French fries in a fast food place in Flemish. But basically that's as far as you got.
Yeah. Wallace and fritters.
Do you want to share any other funny stories about your battles with the language barrier or cultural differences?
Yeah, I think one of the big challenges moving to a European country where English is not the first language would definitely be the language barrier and also culturally. I think as South Africans, we're a lot more outspoken and, we love the sunshine and braai or barbecue, as you would call it. And going to a European country, it was quite challenging. The language barrier, I didn't realize what an issue it would be because growing up in South Africa, I learned Afrikaans at school, and Flemish and Afrikaans being quite similar, I thought it would be no problem. Well, yeah, I realized that it was quite difficult. I think one of the big things that I will take from there was being an older expat wife, so to speak. When my children had moved out of home, so when my husband got the position in Belgium, it was just the two of us going over together. And I think when you are a younger expat mum and you've got young kids at school, you tend to meet a lot more people. The kids have got extramural activities and you meet other like-minded moms and, in the same situation. So I did find the posting quite lonely to start off with. But, eventually you get through it. One of the funny stories I'll remember, my neighbors were both Belgium, both on either side of us. And as I said, as South Africans, if the sun shines, we put a barbecue on. And my hubby just loves barbecuing. And eventually the neighbors, we waved at each other and would say hi. But they came one day out in the garden and they're looking, they were very confused as to why we put a fire on every single weekend. So it just shows you the different cultures, how we're different. But eventually we ended up becoming friends, and it turned out okay in the end.
From challenges with a new culture and learning a new language, things can be difficult. But as Gail explained, eventually you do get through it. And as she pointed out, it always helps to bring a bit of your own culture along with you to your new destination, like a good braai or barbecue, and a husband that does the cooking. In part 2 of our 5-part series with Gail, we're to learn about one of the safest places she's ever lived and one of her favorites. Can you guess where it might have been? Well, just click the link to the next video to find out. Cheers, everyone.